Alright, this is Ken Jones for JoneZy's Rock Reports for Ion Indie Magazine. We're here tonight with Behind the Gray. So, could you guys introduce yourselves and tell us what you do in the band?
I'm Daniel, I play guitar.
I'm Will, I play guitar.
I'm Mike, I play drums.
I'm Steve, I play bass.
And I'm Eric, I'm the singer.
Okay guys, how about probably a stereotypical question, but where'd you get the name from, and you know, where's the meaning behind it?
The meaning behind the name is actually, you get any two people and they hear a song on the radio, and you will get two completely different opinions. You know, your black and your white area, and usually, most of the time, behind that gray area is what the actual meaning is behind the song. So essentially, behind every song, behind the gray area, is the actual meaning, and that's pretty much how it came about.
We use the gas mask image too because really anyone behind that gray mask could be anybody. I mean, it could be a woman, it could be a man, Asian, black, white. It's everyone's interpretation of what's behind it.
How about history of the band? When did you guys get together? And I think it's only you two are the only founding members still, right?
July 2012.
Yeah, so it's almost 2 years now, coming up on 2 years. A little bit longer?
A little bit longer.
A little bit longer?
Well,
I know it's at the time.
July.
Yeah.
It's
2 years and a month?
Yeah.
Or 2 months?
Basically, my previous band had broken up, and I had made like the official Facebook post and everything about it. And I think within like 30 seconds, Mike had hit me up asking me if we were interested in doing another project. And I had a history with Mike. I knew we could jam together. I knew we could work together. And we just kind of came in and started working on the first batch of songs together. That was kind of how the band really started. It was just between the two of us.
Okay, and you've had some big lineup changes in the recent months. I mean, I know from the very first time I saw you guys, you had a different singer and a different bass player.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how much of a dynamic did that take to adjust to, you know, like such a big switch in a short period of time?
Oh, it was huge. I mean, it changed, for me, like the whole direction of the band.
Yeah, with every member change, there was, you can tell in different songs that were written when certain members were in the band, the different influences. I mean, when initially it was me, Will, Jay Green,
Brian McDonald,
and Jon Snow, and Jay definitely had a huge influence on the writing of the original few songs, which were Curtain Call, Crack Inside,
and Perfect Storm.
Perfect Storm, and then there were a couple other ones that we really don't play anymore.
That was actually a big part of member change too, was we've probably in the 2-year history of this band have had over, I want to say 25 to 30 songs. Like completed front to back, you know, with vocals and everything. So with every member change, we kind of grew and, you know, evolved our sound, and when we finally like had a lineup that was gonna stick and work, we chased after that sound and that dynamic, and we dropped the songs that weren't fitting, and we just kept it going that way.
I mean, after it was only what our first show was our last show with Jay, and then we ended up getting Munley. He was around for
over a year,
a while, and you know, he brought in a definite more heavy metal influence to us, and you can tell songs with Centerfold and Focus.
Yeah. After that, I mean, after that, Brian, our bass player, left, who don't know it, is Dan's identical twin brother.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan was in North Carolina. He had lived out there for
5 years.
About 5 years. And had just come back to the air, right as Brian had said, you know, music wasn't really doing what it used to for him, and he wanted to start a family. And he just found out that he's going to have a daughter.
Yeah,
real
I'm
soon.
going to be an uncle.
Yeah. So, I mean, we understood the priorities were changing, and it worked out really great because he basically, being a guitar player, said, I'll play bass for you guys because, you know, I already know my brother's style. I've played with him my entire life, and it was an easy fit for me on stage because we know how each other worked. You know, we moved, we played together for forever, and I think around before or after that time we got Eric.
Yeah, that was
My first show with you guys was the first show with Eric too.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
V-Spot.
That was a huge thing when we got Eric for me. Like that Well,
Oh, that's right. So you weren't even in the band the first time I saw you was at the factory then.
No, that was his twin brother.
Oh, okay, right. And he was playing bass then, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when his brother left, he took over
Right.
bass until Monley left. And when Monley left, we immediately switched him back to guitar because it's his passion. He's great at it.
Mhm.
He was a good bass player, but he's a phenomenal guitar player. So
Yeah. And for those who really don't know, Dan taught me how to play guitar almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
So
first band was 2004.
yeah, around 2004, he literally showed me my first batch of chords and how to dial in an amp and everything. So
So there's a long history amongst you three,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
and how'd you meet Eric?
fluke, fluke
A
plus
lucky-
pure luck.
Yeah, pure luck.
oops, and I actually used to date his sister when I was younger.
And he still talks to you?
for some odd reason, I don't know.
I'm shocked she talks to you.
But I mean, I had heard him sing before a long time ago, and when we initially, had the issue with John, a couple people had said, hey, you need to check out this guy, but nobody could remember the name initially.
It was actually Silhouette Lies. Their bass player basically came in. He's like, no, you guys are looking for a new singer. I got the guy. He used to sing for Black Ice, which was a cover band around here with Rocco and all those guys. I'm like, that's awesome. He sounds like a perfect fit. What's his name? I don't know, kid. I'm like, well, that's not going to do me any good, Nikki. So we probably went like 2 months, like just hearing about Eric and not knowing who he was.
Right.
I mean,
And then he just showed up.
we tried a couple people out, and things weren't working out. And I'd actually talked to him while other people were trying out, and he had some other stuff going on. He said he would have liked to do it, but he had some other stuff going on. So we kind of held off for a little bit, and then eventually he was like, all right, I got time, let's do this. We set the first day.
His first practice is the best.
His audition story is one of legend.
Yeah.
We called him up. We told him, when we were auditioning people, we basically sent Curtain Call, which was already established song at that point. Told him to learn that, and we have done a couple covers. Deftones, Killswitch Engage, Seven Dust, and he's like, well, I already know Deftones, so there's 2 songs. I'm like, all right, cool. Come down, jam, and I think we had like about a week span to set up the date. And he calls me or sends me a text like the day of, and he's like, dude, I'm in the hospital. I don't know if I'm going to make it tonight. And I don't know him. Like, I've never met him face to face at all. And I'm like, my initial reaction, like, are you okay? Like, were you in a car accident? What happened? He had an abscess that infected his jaw. And he went to the emergency room. And then I come down to practice like 6 o'clock or something like that. I tell the guys, like, Eric's probably not going to show up. He's in the hospital. And I get a text back within seconds of saying, like, fuck it, I'm going to be there. I got to do this. I guess he's coming, guys. So he comes in, and he's just, like, holding his jaw. He's, like, staggering around. And we come down.
Oh, yeah. They gave him.
Oh, he was
Like,
on
just take some
painkillers. He's like, they just gave me antibiotics an hour ago, plus painkillers. So he's like, I'm just going to puke. So we pulled a trash can next to him, and he had to sit down because he couldn't stand under his own power. And we're like, you sure you don't want to reschedule? Like, it's cool. He's like, no, I got to get this done. It's now or never. And we're like, we appreciate the dedication and everything, dude, but, it's your jaw. You're a vocalist. This is huge. He's like, no, we're going to do it. So we played Deftones as our first song, and he always says, like, I start playing the intro to Back to School, and it kicks in, and Eric just comes in with the, so run. And I was like, he's the guy.
Right.
Just first note, and I think the rest of the song, he's like, he knew I already wanted him in the band because I had this big shit-eating grin on my face. I was like, that's the guy. This is
Right.
the one we're fucking looking for. And we gave him Crack Inside as the first song that ever. It was just instrumental. He had never heard anything else prior to us. So that was the first thing he wrote as part of the band. And then after that, I think maybe a week or 2 went by, and we said,
Yeah,
That's
we were in the
something like
studio.
yeah, maybe 2 weeks went by of him just jamming and coming down. We're like, you're the guy. You got the job.
Well, the superhuman ability of you, even at that factory show, weren't you just coming out of the hospital for gallstones or
I had
kidney stones or something like
I had
that?
kidney stones, and it was like 10 minutes before we went on at the factory
Right.
show. I passed my first kidney stone, like, ever, and it hurt so bad.
And then came and put a balls out incredible show on. That was the first time I seen you with Eric, and that was incredible. I was
Thank you.
totally blown away that
Thank
night.
you very much.
It's kind of been the staple now, is someone has to be hurt or sick, and then we put on these
Yeah.
shows.
Or if you're not sick or hurt, you do it in the process of the show. That's usually
Yeah,
Yeah.
that happens a lot too.
A neck goes out. You're like, I can't look down anymore.
I've popped fingers back into place. I've blood all over the place. It's
I've got the last injury that happened on stage. We were playing State College, and Steve's doing his windmill thing, and I just get it caught right in my headstock, and it pulls, and I see it happen, and it was like slow motion.
Oh.
And I pull all his hair right out of his head, and
Oh.
he just leans over, he looks at me, he's like, "Oh!" I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Thank God he still has his line mane going on.
Oh yeah.
Seems a little shorter.
Yeah.
Not as thick.
Not as thick anymore, yeah.
Shortly after you got Eric in the band and everything looked complete, then you had your bass player wanted to have a family, and he left. But you actually found Steve rather quickly. You want to talk about that?
we'd initially had, a couple people offer to fill in here and there until we got somebody permanent.
We got Les Claypool, Stu Ham,
Yeah.
those kind of caliber guys.
Geddy Lee was bored.
Geddy Lee, yeah. And we wanted to raise our caliber up, so we got Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I mean,
We jumped all over him.
Yeah.
he played his last show with the Curse of Sorrow. I think he came down and jammed with us like the week before his last show with Curse of Sorrow, and
So you knew with Curse of Sorrow, like, it was over
Yeah.
before the final show?
Yeah, actually, it was the week before that we finished our last show. I went up to Music Around for a pack of strings, and I see these jokers over here. And oh, hey, how are you? Hey, you're not looking for a new band, are you? And I'm just like, well, kind of. And then we played our last show, and it was a week after that I came down, and they're just like, yeah, come on, check stuff out. And I was like, hey, I got my bass in the car. And from that point, we like literally just started that day.
Right.
Didn't know anything. Walked in, spent 5 minutes, and just started jamming.
I think within that first 5 minutes, like, I've known Steve for years. Like,
I followed Will in Absolution since before he was in it.
yeah.
Since Dan was the guitar player.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Wow.
we had this nice history with Steve. I knew he was a great guy, and when I called up his brother and I was like, hey, Steve Spacek is interested in bass, I think B-Man's first reaction was like, take him. Like, if I could pick my own replacement, I would pick Steve. And we're like, that's like a blessing. So we had him come down, and, I knew him in Curse, I knew his abilities. I didn't know his abilities had stretched as far as they do, because he is just phenomenal. He learned everything in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Literally the entire catalog in 2 weeks. Like,
we really didn't
no
have a
problem.
choice, because
Yeah.
initially...
It was that or a bass track?
Initially, we had Nikki from Silhouette Lies was supposed to fill in on a show, and they actually got booked that night, and we were playing at the same time. So I legitimately got a call like Monday from him, like, Nikki can't do this. We have to find somebody. Call Steve. And I called him, and he was here. What?
That night, maybe.
Yeah, a couple
20 minutes later.
20 minutes later, he was here and working on songs. Actually, you learned more than we ended up playing that night, anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the transition been like for you? I mean, Curse was obviously a different type of metal,
It's absolutely just, it just widened my range, I wasn't limited, I'm not limited in either band. I mean, just keep expanding, learning off of everybody else, just playing off of each other. For me personally, it wasn't that big of a transition because I'm still doing what I love, I'm still making music, and it just feels natural.
Right.
I love jamming with people, and these guys, they got me hooked.
Yeah. I think he got us kind of step our game up a little bit too, because we knew he had a great stage presence too. And that really rounded out for us, because Dan and I kind of have a lot of similar tastes and similar things. He's a little bit different than the rest of us, so it's a nice
Strange.
spice. Yeah,
It was strange.
And he came even like a couple times. He came down. He's like, I got this bass part that we turned into guitar riffs. I'm like, this is really tasty. This is really good shit. So it's nice to have so many people contribute music, and we love them. I think the lineup is the best it's been.
Yeah, 2 weeks after you grabbed me, or 2 or 3 weeks after you grabbed me, that's when Learning to Breathe started coming out.
It was,
Yeah.
It was like
There
your
was-
first Monday as a member. He wrote it. His first Monday.
Yeah, that was
So
cool.
not even just the shows gelling and everything, but the writing process was stimulated
That
with
was-
the lineup
oh, yeah.
changes. And
Oh yeah.
First song we wrote with Steve in this band as a permanent member. Everybody where they're at right now, the first song that was written was Learning to Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
It was really awesome time, 'cause it's like the old way of us writing, because a lot of times it starts with me and Mike.
Mm.
And we have a really good like writing chemistry, especially being the type of rhythm guitar player that I am. It was great to just bring in a rhythm part, and immediately he just jumped onto the lead section. Like it just happened. Like there was no prompting to it, and then by then like Steve was already on top of the bass track, and I think by the time we had just like the meat and potatoes of the song down, Eric, I think you almost wrote most of the lyrics that night.
Yeah, I remember I went upstairs.
Yeah, he goes upstairs, he
Yeah.
does his singer thing, and like came back down. I know he at least had the chorus in the first verse.
Yeah, he kept saying, I have this thing in my head, I keep hearing it, play it again.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of like tightening it up, lyrically. But yeah, it was pretty much down.
Taken by the way you scream the words to me. You came as I was losing my mind. It's hard to find a way when I'm choking on my own line, but you push me along to survive. By the way I throw myself away, lost the pieces I need. It's hard to find a cure to this sickness so I don't die, but you push me to try. And I'm tired of losing sleep, cracked and broken heart. Show me how to breathe.
Campaign. You want to explain to everybody how that works, and we'll put a link up and so people can help out?
The Indiegogo campaign is a funding site that I became aware of when my favorite band, Nonpoint, used it. They used it to basically get their funds together to stay on tour because they are a touring band that's on the road 24/7. I think they play probably close to 200 or 300 shows a year, along with their studio stuff. So for us, you know, having a new lineup, having a fresh batch of songs, our producer, Tom Godin, the guy who recorded Learning to Breathe, said, why don't we just do one song, like, let's get the A+ out there, and then launch an Indiegogo campaign to try and fund the record, because, again, like, we had a bunch of lineup changes, we had a bunch of time to, you know, write songs, so making records and being in a band is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So we exhausted a lot of our backup funds and savings, you know, just trying to keep ourselves afloat. So to try and fund an album ourselves would take, I think the math is like 1.5 to 2 years of just saving to get into the studio. That's not actual tracking time.
Right.
So we figure get the song done, get it out there, and the only place you can get it is Indiegogo. And our fans have been so amazing. We try to put as many cool perks out there. You know, like you can get the song for $1. For $3, you can actually get your name in the thank you section of the CD booklet. You know, you can play a show with us. You can get the album before it's even released. You'll get it
Date
before
with
you
Mike.
A date with Mike.
That's not on there.
Actually,
but
he's
we'll
got to
figure
pay
that one
you on that one.
Yeah, we lose money
We
when
lose
someone goes
money
on a
on
date
that
with Mike.
out. These things happen.
Date with Eric, $600.
Oh yeah.
Actually, it's $6,000 for the date for Eric.
Yeah.
And then we'll meet our goal.
And that's already going though, like, and
Yeah,
it's
we're in
already
our
helping.
we're in our second week now. You know, we're just trying to push it, and any help we can get is more than appreciated, and it's going to go towards the album. You know, it's our dream to really get it done, and with the 3-song EP that I think everyone kind of knows is basically produced by ourselves. Like, we recorded it here at the Rec Room with Cliff Evans, who engineered and mixed and mastered the whole thing, but a lot of it was our ideas, our input. When we had Learning to Breathe, it was the same situation where we had the song. We went into the studio, we set up the live room, and Tom came in and he just had all these ideas. He was just like, you know, let's try this different snare pattern, let's try this intro part, let's match the guitars to the vocals, let's try this other rhythm section. So he had all these ideas that just really brought the song to the next level. And we said, like, we need an album of that level and that caliber. And, you know, we all want to be pushed, and we want to be challenged and everything like that too.
Yeah. Toughest part about that is having to learn the song all over.
Yeah.
I didn't play this stuff.
Yeah.
I've been playing this song for 9 months this way. Not
No,
anymore.
not anymore.
You know the song when you go into the studio. You track it, you get it all done and mixed. You go to play it and you forget it all. And you got to relearn it.
Yep. We even tried new stuff. Like, this is the first time we've done backing vocals. Like, all the backup vocal harmonies and everything. We've never done it before. So when we got out, we're like, oh, cool, this sounds amazing. How do we do it live?
Right.
So it's a whole other situation to be in front of a microphone and have the headphones on and hear everything you want, and then be like, oh, now I got to play this live with adrenaline and be on time and play everything correctly. And
Right.
yeah.